welcome back to my channel. So this is the first video I'm recording in a while, so hello, I'm back. The videos that you have seen lately have been recorded, like pre-recorded, but this one, it's like, well, I can pre-record a TBR, but at the same time it doesn't make sense because I always go out of my way to do whatever it takes to not read the books on my TBR and read whatever book I want. So yeah, this is the first video you are seeing that it's not pre-recorded. So hello, welcome back. I'm back. I'm officially back. I will not be as active as I usually am till I finish exams because I think I have exams till June, but it's also like all the headache, not just of studying, but of all the projects and all the Erasmus things that I have to do. European students will understand me because but anyway, let's go back to the point. So this is the books that I want to read during the month of May, which is going to be a complicated month for all these things that I already told you. I have 9 books. I don't know if I'm going to read every single one of them. I don't even know if I'm going to read one of them. Like, I have several of these books already started, but I have to continue reading them. And yes. So anyway, I have to get time and listen. I have loads and loads of books that are from my physical book collection. So this means that I will probably reduce the number of books on my physical TBR. I hope so, because this is starting to get crowded in my bookshelf. So let's go and talk about it. And the first book that I'm reading is Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow by Gabrielle Sevin. And I've already started this book. I'm on page 140. And I am actually really liking this. I bought it because everyone was talking about this book, and mostly because I have fear of missing out, not because I wanted to read it, because I usually read like romances, mostly because the other things I read are things that take a lot of mental power for school, and romances are just like a chill read that I don't have to put much thought into. But yeah, so I bought this one, and that day like literally the day I bought this, I started thinking about how I never ever read the books I buy, and so we are going to read the books I buy from now on. We are going to read Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow by Gabrielle Sevin, and so far, I'm not going to tell you much because like I don't know much, but so far I can tell you I am enjoying it, and also that it reminds me a lot of the writing of Marguerite Duras. I don't know if you have ever read anything by her, but she's a French author, and I read The Lover by Marguerite Duras on first year in my degree. I'm on second year now. I'm officially a university student. Well, I was last year too. But I read a book by Marguerite Duras, and the kind of way of writing the stream of consciousness of the characters reminded me a lot of that. I don't know if it will keep reminding me of that. Then we have a book that my brothers bought for me because it's been my birthday. You will see I am preparing the video of my birthday weekend because like I have 3 hours of clips to edit because my friend group and I can't shut up. We are constantly talking and doing stupid stuff. So yeah, this is a book that my brothers bought for me. This was my birthday present from them, and it's Before We Were Strangers by Rene Carlino. I also started this. I'm on page 63, but like I can't tell you much either because I haven't read anything, but I like it so far. Like the 60 pages I read, I can tell you more. And people who read the same things that I read describe this as something different from what I and them usually read. So I'm curious. This is also like about people in their 20s, because I think that it's like at the start they are 20 and in the present time they are 20 something or 30 or 30 something. I feel like this is a book to read on our 20s, and I am 20 now. Sounds horrible. I don't want to be 20. I want to go back to being a teenager. Then we start with the books that I have to read for class because I have, again, I think I've already mentioned this in some other video, but I have this subject that is called Sociocultural History of Art Through Literature, and I have to read 2 books this month for that course, and one of them is Persuasion by Jane Austen. I already started this. I'm late. Like, my teacher the other day was saying, like, for the ones who read the novel and yada 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 and analyzing parts, and I was like, I'm lost because I haven't read any of that. I'm not even going to tell you where I am in this book because it's embarrassing. Persuasion by Jane Austen, it's going to be my first Jane Austen book, and I'm kind of hesitant about it because I'm not sure if I am enjoying the writing. I mean, it's a classic book. Obviously, the writing is going to be like the ones we are used to reading in the novels from nowadays, but I don't know. I just really want to like Jane Austen and like classics and be that girl that reads classics and seem pretentious. And then I also have to read Hard Times by Charles Dickens. I haven't started this either. Like, we have to do this course project which has to be about one of the books we read. So I have Beowulf, The Canterbury Tales, Dr. Faustus by Christopher Marlowe, Persuasion by Jane Austen, or Hard Times by Dickens. And in this case, I will have to compare Dickens to the time and the prisons and how they treated children. And I think I'm going to do my project about Dickens, but I have 2 weeks. I have to read this and Persuasion, and I also have to kind of a lot of research. I hope it's not horrible because I'm very interested in that project. The next book, I'm starting to feel ashamed that it's The Secret History by Donna Tartt. I have to finish this. I have to finish this because if you don't know, I was reading this for something, and yes, I haven't finished it, and I want to finish it, but right now it feels like really daunting reading this book because I am halfway through, like literally halfway through. So I have enough reading to do here, like to take me 1 week of reading. But at the same time, I don't remember well the previous parts, so I feel like I'm not going to enjoy it as much. But like, it's completely my fault to not enjoy it as much. And like, taking on the task of reading this again, it feels daunting, and I don't know, I need Isaro or someone to force me to read this. Then we go back to my beloved romance books, and I am reading 1 dark romance book this month, maybe 2 if I like that one I'm reading. But I am reading Haunting Adeline. I already started this one too. Like, I'm realizing that I read too many books at the same time. I am reading Haunting Adeline because Naya, a friend of mine, if you watch the previous 24-hour reading, you have kind of met her. So she liked Haunting Adeline, and she was like the other day telling me about like how I have to read this book, that I'm going to love it. And she was also recommending this book to Anne, and Anne hasn't read it either. So I decided to just like read it because she was starting to be pleading. I'm reading it for you, Naya. I hope you're happy. And then one of the books that I know that I'm not going to read, but like I have to put it here. I'm not going to read it because I don't want this series to end. And if I read this, I will only have 1 book left, and I don't want that to happen. So this one is Long Way Down by Kristen Becca Ritchie, and it's one of the largest of this series, so I don't want to read this. Like, I want to know how this thing continues, but at the same time, I don't want to, because like it's getting closer and closer and closer to the end, and it's not like Binding Keep It 13 and the Boys of Tommen series, where I know that I will have more books, at least 2 more next year from what Chloe Walsh announced. But in this case, like, you know, the story is finished, and I don't want that to happen. Like, if Kristen Becca Ritchie continued writing things about these characters and their daily life, I will eat that up. So I don't want to read this. And I will probably not read this month. Then we have these books that, in theory, I only want to read the first one this month, but I want to blog it also. So yeah, these are the Hunger Games books. I know that the edition is not the prettiest, but I thrifted them. The 3 of them were €7 on Vinted, so yeah, it's okay. And I will probably only read the Hunger Games. I remember reading the Hunger Games when I was little, but like really little, and I don't remember much. I also only watched the first movie, so I only know what the first movie is about, and that's kind of it. So I want to read this, I want to react to it, mostly because everyone right now is talking about this and raving about it, and I'm constantly watching theories of different things about the Hunger Games, like things about Katniss is not a white woman, it's indigenous because of this and this and this, or comparing the Met Gala to the Hunger Games, like to the Capitol, all these extravagant dresses and all that, and I want to read this. I want to read this, and because I wasn't here for the first Hunger Games hype moment or something, so I want to be here for this now. And yes, then we have a book that I want to read because I've been wanting to read this book for a while, and it's a non-fiction book. It's 101 essays that will change the way you think, and I want to read something that is out of my comfort zone, but something that will be rewarding and that will help me at some point in life. And this book right now counts as something like that, something that I want to get something from. from, and with all the anxiety and everything that my life has become, I want to read this mostly for like to be prepared for whatever it comes the next year and to improve in general. And lastly, we have 2 honorable mentions, which they are not part of this TBR, they are not in TBR, but I'm going to mention them because they may be read this month. So the first one would be Dr. Faustus by Christopher Marlowe. I will most likely do my final project on Charles Dickens, but Christopher Marlowe's Dr. Faustus is also kind of interesting, and it's really short to read. Like, we only had to read the text B and some articles, and it's like really short, and I think that I may reread this to like grasp concept correctly before starting to the project, if I do the project about this. And the other one would be Crooked Kingdom by Leigh Bardugo. And this is because Isaro and I are trying to read this book together. But a couple of days after we started reading this book, the last book of the Voice of Tommen series came out. Then I had the exam on Christopher Marlowe. Then I have another thing and another thing and another thing. And it kind of has been snowballing till now. And I know I don't have time right now to read this, and that's why I don't have it in my TBR, like in my definitive TBR, but I want to read this, and I want to read it with Isaro, and I want to keep going with the experience and knowledge. Like, there is a possibility of me reading this, but it's not a certainty. That was kind of it. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you liked this video. If you like this video, you may consider subscribing, because for you it's not ads, and for me, you live my day. And I hope to see you soon. Bye!